Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Sakadas?
Here.
Mr. Veneri?
Here.
Mrs. Fasio?
Here.
Mr. Valency?
Here.
Mr. Root?
Here.
Mr. Farrell?
Here.
Mr. Wood?
Here.
Mr. Bayshore?
Here.
And Mr. Lee.
Public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given by the clerk in the following manner. 1, posted on the bulletin board in the Borough Clerk's office on January 5th, 2016. And 2, emailed to the retrospect and Courier Post on January 5th, 2016. Reports?
We have a report of the construction official for the month of, December. We have a total of $6,106 that was collected for various permits, including COs. All monies were turned over to the treasurer.
Would everybody please make sure that their phones are off or on vibrate, please? Thank you. All right.
We had a report of the police chief for the month of December. A total of $162.30 was collected for various accident discoveries, solicitor reports, and firearm permits. And for January, a total of $1,130.47 is collected for the same reports. All monies were turned over to the treasurer. We had a report of the municipal court for the month of December. A total of $7,418.92 was collected in court fines. All monies were turned over to the treasurer. We have a report of the borough clerk for the month of January. A total of $54,855.80 was collected for street opening permits, mercantile licenses, dog and cat licenses. All monies were turned over to the treasurer. We have a report of the registrar of the statistics for the month of December. A total of $2,408 was collected for death copies, marriage copies, and one marriage license. And in January, $2,338 was collected for death copies, fetal death, burial permits, marriage copies, and marriage licenses. All monies were turned over to the treasurer. We have the report of the fire official for the month of January. A total of $2,207 was collected in fire fees in January. 71 inspections were conducted. 157 incidents total. 119 EMS and 38 fire. One type 1 permit was issued, and a total of $17,765.13 was collected in EMS fees. The report of the tax collector for the month of December, a total of $207,916.53 was collected in property tax, and $11,035.18 in sewer rentals. And for the month of January, a total of $1,489,071.53 was collected in taxes, and $8,129.30 in sewer rentals. And that was all done.
Is there a motion to approve the reports as the clerk read?
I'll make a motion to approve the reports as read.
I'll second.
Motion by Passio, second by Farrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approval of minutes. Motion is in order for the approval of minutes of the December 30th, 2015, and January 3rd, 2016 reorganization, and the January 3rd, 2016 regular meetings as submitted by the clerk. Each member received copies of the same. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Ranieri, second by Passio. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I
got to abstain for this one.
Okay, you're going to abstain for that one? Okay.
Which one are they abstaining from?
12:30, Craig.
Okay, so,
That's Farrell and Robinson.
okay. Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Communications?
We have a thank you note from the Coit family for flowers sent during the death of his father.
Response. Okay, is there a motion to receive?
I'll make a motion.
Second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Root, second by Ms. Patsy, all in favor? We're going to dispense with the committee reports so that we can move a little quicker. We're going to go to new business.
Excuse me, there's one raffle license under Eleanor's report.
All right, so we'll do that as a resolution, the first resolution.
Yeah, just as something you have to make a motion.
Okay. We have a raffle license 16-02. It's May 7, 2016, Holy Child Parish, armchair race. All paperwork is in order. Would someone like to make a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Passio, second by Mr. Lovenstein. Does this say, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Raffle licenses. Okay, new business. Resolution 16-28 is a resolution authorizing an interlocal service agreement between the Borough of Runnemede and the Borough of Barrington for payroll services. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Root, second by Passio. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Passiw.
Yes.
Mr. Lovenstein.
Yes.
Mr. Root.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
And Mr. Renier.
Yes.
Five ayes, one absent.
Okay, the resolution is adopted. Resolution 1629 is a resolution authorizing an interlocal service agreement between the Borough of Runnemede and the Borough of Barrington for Deputy Registrar of Vital Statistics Services.
I'll make a motion. I'll second
Motion by Root, second by Farrell. Roll call, please. Oh, is there any discussion on that? Roll call.
Mrs. Passiw.
Yes.
Mr. Lovenstein.
Yes.
Mr. Root.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
And Mr. Renier.
Yes.
Five ayes, one absent.
And the resolution is adopted. Resolution 16-30 is a resolution approving a change order for Lambert Construction for Singley Avenue. Motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Farrell, second by Passio. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Passiw.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
Mr. Root.
Yes.
Mr. Lovenstein.
Yes.
And Mr. Renier.
Yes.
Five ayes, one absent.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution 16-31 is a resolution approving another change order for Lambert Construction for South Oakland Avenue.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Ranieri, second by Passio. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Passiw.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
Mr. Root.
Yes.
Mr. Lovenstein.
Yes.
And Mr. Renier.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution 16-32 is a resolution canceling taxes on the improvement to Block 60, Lot 40 as a result of demolition.
Make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Farrell, second by Passio. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Root.
Yes.
Mr. Lovenstein.
Yes.
Mrs. Passiw.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
And Mr. Renier.
Yes.
Five ayes, one absent.
So I would like to just add one if I could. You may recall some time ago that we were approached by PSE&G because they wanted to replace some ground wire in the Conrail easement, and we needed to investigate. Conrail, first of all, had agreed to that. It's an easement across our property that Conrail's had for years. PSE&G has material in there as a result of kind of enclosed easement within that. So they came to us because they have to replace some ground wire. So we first wanted to make sure that since Conrail is the primary beneficiary of the easement, they have approved it, which they did. They then, the representatives of PSE&G and myself worked out a very short form of letter saying that we are approving, and I'll read it to you. Consent from the borough to allow for the installation of static and intercompany communication lines, primarily underground. And then it recites the language from the easement. And then the part that's most important to us is PSE&G acknowledges and agrees that the premises shall be returned to its pre-work condition after the wire is replaced. In addition, any and all other damage to the property, common to the bike path or otherwise, caused directly as a result of PSE&G's work shall be promptly repaired and or replaced. An inspection between PSE&G and Runnemede shall take place to identify any damage and provide a sign-off upon the completion of construction. Okay, so I need a resolution.
1633.
Yeah, authorizing the mayor to sign that letter.
Okay. So resolution 1633 is authorizing the Borough of Runnemede to agree to PSE&G's
Just access to the easement.
access to the easement.
Access.
Access to the easement. They're allowed to go on the property, on the bike path to put this wire. All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion authorizing PSE&G access to easement.
I'll second that.
Motion by Passio, second by Ranieri. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Yes.
Mrs. Passios?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
And Mr. Runnemede.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. We have a couple ordinances tonight. These are first readings. Ordinance 16-01 is an ordinance setting requirements and fees for the use of the Runnemede Field House. There's a motion in order. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt on first reading and advertise according to law with a public hearing to be held on the first day of March 2016.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Yes.
Mrs. Passios?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Yes.
Five ayes, no nays.
Okay, ordinance 16-02
This is by title.
This is by title only. Is an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and establish a cap bank for New Jersey statute. Motion is in order. Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt on first reading and advertise according to law with a public hearing to be held on the first day of March 2016.
Second? Motion by Ms. Passios, second by Mr. Lobenstein. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Yes.
Mrs. Passios?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Yes.
Before we start the public portion of the meeting, I would like to make a statement to everyone. Oh, we're going to pay the bill. I apologize, in case we go long. And the bill's not on the- Okay, is there a motion to pay the monthly bills?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Root, second by Mr. Lobenstein. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Yes.
Mrs. Passios?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Runnemede.
Yes.
Five ayes, no nays.
Okay. I would like to start off by apologizing to Ms. Gina Brown, and all of you here today, and all of the people of Runnemede for the events that occurred this past week. Public safety for all, especially for children, is our #1 priority. I understand why actions from the past week struck a nerve in our community. Our intent is to always provide the best services to our residents. I have complete confidence in our police department and support the decisions made by them this past week. I have also met and agreed with the local school superintendent, Mr. Iannucci, on procedures to make sure we are prepared for future snowstorms and the possibility of school closures or delayed openings. It's obvious we have an opportunity to improve communications with each other when weather issues are present. I had the pleasure this week to speak to a veterans advocate who explained clearly to me the need to support all of our public safety employees and to provide an environment where all feel comfortable to speak out without the fear of reprisal when they feel a situation warrants action. We have all learned this lesson. Myself and the members of council here today want to be accessible to all. That's why we make our cell phone numbers and email addresses public for anyone to contact us. I know many people like to speak badly about this town, but I would like to say, had I not moved to Runnemede, I would have missed the best part of this town. The people here I call my friends and neighbors. I hope that everyone here feels the same way. It continues to be my honor and pleasure to be the mayor of this great town and to serve these great people. Hopefully, with all of us working together, we can continue to improve our community and continue to make this a great place to live for all of us. Thank you. Okay, and now at this point of the meeting is open to the public. I will allow the solicitor to at least clarify the process to those of you who have not been here.
Right, so that everyone who wishes to address council will have a reasonable opportunity to do that. Can you not hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that everyone will have an opportunity that wishes to address council. To do that, we're going to do it in our normal fashion, which is you'll approach the microphone. Because there's a lot of you, if 2 or 3 want to queue up, that would probably make it move more quickly. Speak your piece, as they say. Okay, you're going to identify yourself, your name and your address, and say what you need to say. If you have questions, you'll ask them. They're not going to be answered instantaneously. I will keep track of all the questions, and and who asked them, so if your name's something other than Wood like mine, and I might have trouble spelling it, you'll help me. At the end of the public session, to the extent that there's time and the council is able to answer the questions, they will answer as many as they can. Any questions not addressed by council this evening will be addressed subsequently in writing directly to you. Okay, we ask everyone to respect the people that are speaking and look to proceed in a decorous manner so we can get everyone who wants to speak will have an opportunity to speak. Everybody okay with the instructions? It's pretty straightforward. Okay, mic's open.
Hi, Maria Panzarella, 12 South Oakland Avenue. I'm here every month, and the agenda's a little different. There was no opportunity to speak on agenda items, and my issue first is about an agenda item. The rest of the rest of South Oakland Avenue, that would be from my house to the corner. I'm assuming that change order is regarding? No?
It was just a,
The rumor has it that the rest of the road's being paved, and I was just, it says the change order.
we'll answer it at the end.
So,
Okay,
that's
it's
the question.
on the agenda.
What's the change order address? That's your question?
Correct.
Okay.
It says you approved, the council approved the change order for South Oakland Avenue, and I'm questioning if that, rumor has it that the rest of the road, like from my house to the corner is being
Don't worry
paved.
about the rumor. We'll address exactly what it is.
Exactly why I'm asking.
Okay, we will.
Rumors are a Olympic sport in the town of Runnemede. My second thing is I want to address, I know that I'm here every month, so it is what it is. I can either be very nice or not, and I want to take a moment to address a police officer in the, I appreciate every crossing guard, I appreciate everybody, but a specific officer I watched on, and I want to say it was Friday morning, it may have been Thursday, last week, obviously I lost Matt Rowland. I watched him, a little boy, he was on the corner of Hirsch, and he was the crossing guard at the corner of Hirsch and Third, and a little boy, he doesn't know I was watching him, he has no idea of this, but a little boy out of his mom's car on the corner, she turned on the Hirsch, he got out and he fell. And I was on Third Avenue at the stop sign, and I watched him walk from wherever he was standing at, point over. He helped the little boy up, he helped pick all his belongings up, and then he walked over and across the entire regime of children that were waiting to cross at that point. And I think that, you know, as everybody wants to bash, you know, people for doing right, wrong, or whatever, he deserves a huge thank you, because, again, you weren't there to see that. Everybody that wants to criticize, you know, he did, it was wonderful to see. And I screamed out my window, you know, these are the pictures that everybody should be looking at, you know, and that's it.
Thank you, Maria.
So Matt, wherever you are, if you're here, if not, your boss will let you know you did a wonderful job. You're being watched. How about that agenda? I missed it.
My name is Karen Pagliazza. I live on 624 Detmar Terrace. And I heard your apology, and, you know, that's all well and said and done. I did go to the school board meeting last week to address the issue of the sidewalks. And I understand you are planning something to do to change this. I've lived in this town for 13 years. I'm not blaming Public Works. I'm not blaming the police department. I think that, I think we have amazing cops. You know, I'm saddened to see that they were actually, I felt that they were thrown under the bus when I listened to your interview. You know, that's my opinion, which I have a right to voice. But this was probably the worst. And I understand there was a lot of snow, and I can respect the fact that it's a lot to clean up. But this is the worst that these streets have ever been cleaned in the 13 years I've been here. You know, I read the notices to make sure the cars were off the corners, and I live on a corner. So, you know, I made sure that sidewalk, that corner, and I actually, my driveway is actually like a corner. The snow was so bad on that corner to try to dig out. I mean, and then the opposite corner, which is usually on Detmar, coming off of, what's the school that Volks is on? That, is that her? Third? Williams? That, I mean, that corner, even the, well, I guess today it rained, or last night it rained, so some of it went away. That corner was so bad, how far the snow was from the corner. I mean, it didn't even look like it was an attempt to even push to the corner. I mean, I saw that Monday when my son didn't walk to school because my husband drove him, or he wouldn't have gone to school. I saw cars sliding all over the place. I mean, I understand that there's houses that are empty, so those sidewalks aren't done. And, you know, I understand there's a 48-hour compliance. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. You know, when you have school the next day, there has to be something that says, you know what, we're gonna clean this up and we'll send you the bill. You know, and I understand, I mean, I spoke my piece at the school board, and they said, come to the town meeting and address that with them. So that's what I'm here, because they told me as a school, they were ready. And I understand the school was good, the sidewalk the school's on, but we're a walking school. We have 3 schools that our children walk to. So if those sidewalks aren't clean for our kids to get there, we're not ready as a school, as a town. And I feel that you as the mayor failed us, not the police department, not the schools, not the public works. I mean, I understand maybe you're understaffed, you don't have, I mean, you could definitely tell there was a difference this year with plowing. I mean, usually they're up and down Detmar a few times, and I can respect the fact that if, as a town, you would have said, you know what, maybe you should have got out of your car and went and looked. I mean, if you're a resident of Runnemede, did you drive in? Did you see some of these sidewalks, some of these crosswalks, to say, you know what, we shouldn't have school today? I mean, it's just a failure on the part as what you've got, I mean, as your job. You know, and your apology's great, and, you know, we're lucky none of the kids got hurt, but a lot of kids could have gotten hurt, because they were sliding all over the places, cars were sliding all over the places, and, you know, what if it just, that's not good enough for me. You know, and I understand there's something implemented, but I want to know where the failure was this time. Why wasn't there enough people plowing? Why didn't we ask for more help? Why didn't we say to the schools, you know what, we're not ready, you need to give the town some more time? So, you know, I understand we're going to prepare for the next time, because it's going to snow again. My kid's a 4th grader. He's going to be walking the bolts for another till 8th grade. My daughter is a senior at Triton. So my kids have been walking to school for a long time. I just feel, you know, it's all good that we're going to start a plan, but I want to know what happened that this time wasn't ready. We didn't have enough people. Whose call was it? You know, and like I said, I listened to these interviews, and it saddens me that, you know, you blame the police, saying that, you know, they knew what was going on, that they prioritized. It's just wrong. I know these cops. I know a lot of them. They grew up in this town, and they care about the safety of these kids. And if they felt something was wrong, they wouldn't allow these kids to just cross the street. And I just, shame on you. Shame on you as our mayor.
Margie, excuse me, where?
3rd Ave, East 3rd Ave.
Address, actual address,
310
in case we have to communicate.
310 East 3rd Ave. On the day, I believe that all this occurred with the snow, one of the Borough trucks with the plow hit and killed my dog in my driveway.
Oh.
Yeah. And took off. He stopped, his window was down, I heard him screaming, and he stopped right in front of me and my son and took off. Then we reported it, and they came to my house and said there were no trucks in the area 15 minutes ago, and that nobody did it. And finally, after posting, I have surveillance on my house, so we got a picture of him going by. Sorry. And we got him to get the dog, and he just, on Sunday, came back. His boss came back and admitted that it was him, and he had not told the truth about the episode for whatever reason, and that they were very sorry about the dog. But I've been approached that while the snowplow was over my house, not plowing, hitting my dog. It wasn't the corner where the kids were or whatever. I don't even know if that's her, but I just wanted to throw that out there. I was at the Borough Hall today talking about it, but I just thought it should be on the record.
Sorry for your loss.
Thank you very
Sorry.
much.
No,
Bay 125 East Third Avenue, Runnemede. We have a new superintendent, I believe, the Public Works Department. Let me ask one question. Why doesn't he ever answer his phone, and why doesn't he return phone calls? No matter how trivial the question may be, or how important it may be. I never had a problem when Nick ran down there, great guy, do anything for you. Never had a problem calling Beverly Moore. And who's this, the new guy, Mr. New Public Works guy? Who took Beverly's place? Well,
Beverly was a council.
yes, I understand that, but she was part of the Public Works, am I correct? She ran part of the Public Works. Okay. Anyway, so my question is, you got a question, who do you call now? Nobody down there answered, he doesn't return phone calls whatsoever.
Thank you.
My name's Gina Bion, 403 Center Ave. I have a couple questions. One, I want to know when my suspension will be rescinded rather than amended, because I don't deserve to have that on my record. It was unjustified. My next question, I heard your interview on 101.5. I want to know what gave you the right to discuss my personnel matter on the radio without giving me prior knowledge. Is there any answers to that, or is that something I'm going to have to wait
Were
to
you
get?
here when I gave you?
I was, but, I mean, this
The
is,
answer to your question is that council is not going to respond individually to questions. They will answer questions as they can after the end of public session.
okay.
So you asked those two questions, why your suspension was not rescinded but only amended.
And I wanted to know when it would be rescinded since it was unjustified.
There's a lot of conclusions to that. Your question is, okay, and when, so to speak, okay. And the other one is discussion of your personnel matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't use my 3 minutes because that was an agenda.
We don't have a rule.
Oh, all right.
Once everybody else is speaking, if you. Let's let everybody have a chance.
Thank you.
Good evening, Rebecca Nathis, 629 Deckmar Terrace. A couple of things. On social media, there was people were very vocal about the conditions of the roads. And I did a little recon because I was kind of attacked by a fellow resident in Runnemede. And I took a ride past this gentleman's house, and his street was plowed curb to curb. And that was the only salt I saw in the borough. So my question is, how much salt do we have? Who determines who salts where? And why wasn't 3rd Avenue, West 3rd Avenue salted when I witnessed at 9:30 on Monday morning, people sliding down that road as I was coming up the road to go to my first patient's house? And I had the same thought as Karen and Pagliazzo, who is my across the street neighbor. Someone is going to be seriously hurt. And for a split second, I thought about calling you, Mayor Kapadas, because I have your cell phone number, and we have a clear line of communication. However, I said, you know what? Nick probably has it under control. It wasn't under control. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. We're better than that. We are better than that. Every street should be salted or gravel, not just brine. Brining, I get brining. You're very proud of the fact you have a brining truck. Brining doesn't do the job. You counted on grinding, and you didn't count on gravel and salt. You know I travel for a living, and I travel for each community. I will tell you, on Sunday, I went to Camden, to East Camden. Their roads were better than ours. They don't have the tax base that we do. Granted, some of the side roads, but their roads were better than ours. Penn Sawkins roads were better than ours. Cherry Hills roads were better than ours. Merchantville's roads were better than ours. Merchantville's mayor was shoveling the sidewalk of the senior building. I know that because I pulled in the parking lot and recognized him. Okay? So we need to do a better job. You told me yesterday when I helped you with the sign that you were committed. Find the passion. Find the fire that you had when you took the oath of office. I think you've lost it. That's the nicest way that I can put it. Okay?
David Walker, 25 North Runnemede. I'd like to say that the snow that we had was extraordinarily a lot. I understand the town did the best they could with what they had in place. However, the last lady said that we need to do a better job. Well, we as a community should. I saw Councilman Root shoveling his neighbor's sidewalk, not his house. He was helping out the couple next door. I personally did 3 homes on my street myself, because I have my next door neighbor has diabetes and he has a problem, he couldn't walk, so I did his all weekend. If our town, we as a community come together, the people that live around the schools that children walk to, get out and shovel maybe just a little bit extra than just their property, maybe we could have had a better situation in place if we as a community came together and helped our town. Because we don't have a large tax base in this town. We can only do with what we can with our limited means. So in a situation that was extraordinary like that, I think maybe we all came together a little bit better as a town to help each other. I think you guys did as best you could with what you have in place. And I'm proud to live in this town. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Rachel Idelson, Payne Avenue in Runnemede, 20 South Payne. I am that crossing guard on 3rd Avenue. I was very afraid that day. I wear ice grippers on my shoes so I don't fall. You have children in our school. You see us out there. That you have respect enough for us, our safety, our children. If somebody would have got hurt, they would have came to me. That would have been my responsibility if a child would have fell. Then who do I turn to? Who helps me? I don't think you will. I think that's on me, isn't it? The borough won't back me if somebody falls and gets hurt. Thank
Jackie Ortiz, 332 Bowers Avenue. I was one of the cars on 3rd Avenue, watching Rachel that day. I thought my kids were safe. I drive my kids. They don't have to walk. I'm not at work already. They were in my car. We were all safe. So I thought. So my daughter had to get out of the car. Unfortunately, on the way to school, you know, we have little kids that are in the street. They're leaning on the car. They have to. We have no choice. I think, one, we need to rethink the whole letting go of 4 public works. Let go of the manager. Unless he's going to be out there on the corner, which apparently he wasn't, keep the guys on there that are actually shoveling. Keep the guys out there that are actually mowing the lawns, that are doing things for the town. Maybe we have too many managers. Because what I saw that day, my daughter was safe, but then I had to let her out of the car. Then we went, we tried to help Gina. Another thing is, there are proud residents, because the resident, how old is he, Gina, that guy that was on your corner? He was out there trying to help, trying to get her to be able to pull her truck in so the kids were safe. A lot of people care. And maybe we need to rethink how we do things, because how it happened the other day just didn't happen. It was complete disgrace, and it was sad.
I'm sorry. I still live at 12 South Oakland Avenue. My name is still Maria. It will be next to me. Rachel, I gotta tell you, I've been every day, I've been every day for years, but it's considerably worse. Worse than it's ever been. A snow aside, we've had this discussion, Charlie, I've had this discussion, we got an emergency here. People do not stop at the stop sign on Center Avenue, and they're pulling, and I look, how many people do you see almost hit each other, literally, I mean, all jokes aside. Now, let's address, Harry, my name's Maria, I'm the one who was standing in the parking lot when you and Mr. Wright were plowing. I don't know what my position is, I opened that building. That is one of the most dangerous roads between, when school starts and a good hour, I'm sure, half hour after Bingham starts. It's just awful when there's no snow. I think that, maybe place an officer there every morning and just remind the people as they run that stop sign that it's probably a good idea for them to try it every once in a while, especially when school's and, whatever. But, Harry, just to let you know, it's the intersection that's the problem is Center and Third. And for the 15 years that I've been a homeowner in Runnemede, Public Works has, for some reason, decided that there should be a big amount of snow right in the middle of Center Avenue. Let's do away with that. You're new, let's try something new. Take your backhoe, get that big amount of snow, and bring it to like the dog park where nobody can walk, or Green Acres where nobody plays right now. Like, let's be realistic about providing an already very dangerous situation a little bit safer. I don't know that it can be safer, but let's not make it any more dangerous, I guess is what I'm saying. It's an awful, and then somebody, when I mentioned that to somebody, that to me, that is like, why do we keep doing that? Why do we keep just mounting the snow, and there's people already, when there's no snow, running the stop sign and creating and it's very slippery there. But someone else mentioned that the same thing is happening at Center and Simpson. So just, if you can make note of that, that girl Maria does not want me to leave the snow in the corner of Center and Third, because it really sucks. So, it's dangerous. You know what I mean? You can't see past it. Well, yeah, exactly. Again, the street, you got people falling. It's just, let's do something different. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Move the snow. I know, 15 that I
I have one more question. I forgot when I was up here. I did make a phone call to Harry, and I told him I was told I had the wrong number when I called him about that issue.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Andy Kleehammer, 104 South Oakland Avenue. First, I want to extend my prayers to Councilwoman Eleanor Kelly, who had surgery, and we wish her all the best, and we want to see her safe, recovery and full recovery. I know the events of this past week are not really reflective of Runnemede. I think we all had concerns about it, and I just want to say that I think I'm very proud of the way everybody here has handled it. I know sometimes it's hard when something happens, you can do two things. You think something was wrong and someone makes a decision, you have the best people in place that you can. You have the best chief of police in place, you have the best public works person in place, you have the best council in place, code officials. When they make decisions, I understand you have to back them up, or you will marginalize all the decisions. So you cannot be second guessing your people that you have in place. That's why they are in place. And I'm proud of the way Chief Daly and Mr. Murray, Sergeant Murray, and you guys came to decide to rethink it. Oftentimes, if there's a reaction, it does oftentimes help take pause and reflect on it and say, I'm going to do things, I'm going to draw a line in the sand. and dig in, or I'm going to correct it.
Would you please let her speak? Thank you.
So I'm just proud of the way you guys reflected upon it, and you've come to a very, I think, amenable resolution to it. And I'm very confident that Craig Lobenstein will do a great job with Harry. I've known Craig for many, many years, and I know he will put his heart and soul into it, as all of you guys do, in trying to make Runnemede the most safe place it can be for all of our towns, not just our children. I see we put freeway stop signs in on my street, Oakland Avenue. I know we've done speed bumps at a pretty good expense in the past year. We've added patrol cars. I know we are a very, very cognitive community in public safety, and we can all do a better job maybe helping each other shovel and stuff like that, but I'm proud of the town I live in, and anything I can do to help, please, you'll have my number. You know, I'm more passionate in politics. I like everybody in this building. I applaud all you guys, all the crossing guards. I've never had occasion to hear of a child getting hurt crossing the street. That's a tribute to you guys. You guys take it seriously. It's a very serious, very important job. It's not something you take lightly. I know you're passionate about it. And I'm proud of all of you guys for getting up every day for an hour and then going back at 2 o'clock for an hour. That takes a lot of passion and commitment to do that kind of work. Because not everybody will do it. They want a full-time job. They don't want a couple hours a day. And it's, I appreciate it very much, so I thank you for what you do, and I hope you can thank these guys for what they try to do each and every day to keep us all safe and help happy, okay? Thank you very much.
I still live at 332 Ballard Avenue. Another thing that I wanted to say that I forgot. I understand there was a chain of command. I understand all about chain of command. We need to have a plan in place that if we go to the chain of command, there has to be a gray area. I want every single one of these ladies to know that if there's a gray area, they can call Paul, Rich Wright, Harry, Mike Root, Mr. Farrell. I don't care who it is. I don't care, because if it's Lily, if it's PJ, if it's anybody else's kid, if you call me and say you need to shovel, I will be there, especially if you say it's your kid. No child should have to do that. I don't care who needs to be called. There has to be a gray area sometimes. I understand the chain of command, but there's some circumstances. If you call, I don't care who has to go out. Because if something happens to one of these kids, nobody's going to care about a chain of command. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Seeing no one else?
Can I just, it's not really, I'm really, you're so, no, don't kill, I'm still on that. No, I'm still in this room, but I still live it on that. Well, so wait, don't kill the messenger. Since you're answering questions afterwards, these are questions that the community has,
You're not gonna answer it anonymously.
Yeah, oh, all right.
Somebody wants to ask us, we'll answer.
You can.
All right, so I'll be the anonymous girl. I'm not, but I'm okay. On January 28th, oh wait, it says it's problems and discrepancies with interview. I'm not quite sure because I wasn't in the interview, but I'll be doing it. On January 28th, Mayor Nick Paz called NJ 1015 radio to discuss employee Gina Bound when reading his interview to CCR some discrepancies and had many questions regarding the interview. Mrs. Bound was unaware the mayor was discussing her on a statewide radio program. The mayor's actions clearly opened the town up to issues with the NJ Royce bill police law. Therefore, we'd like some answers because ultimately our tax dollars would be used to litigate or pay any penalties. It says, our mayor, the police were there. They could have done something to protect the children if they felt there was an imminent threat. And you know the word, exactly. Thank you. And then, but the fact is state law states children must cross in the crosswalk. The question is, children walking in the street with running cars is not considered a safety hazard by the Runnemede police? That's the question. Then it says, our mayor, the police were out there. They saw we had a problem at 11 locations. The police prioritized these locations and dispatched public first. As a fact, we have 3 schools. Volts opened at 9:45, Bingham and Downing opened at 10:45. The public works crews arrived at Volts at 10:15. School was already in session. The crew then went to Bingham and Downing. This was after 10:45, and then school was already in session. None of the Runnemede schools had clear crosswalks when children were going to school. Our public works department has 8 trucks. Runnemede recently hired a superintendent of public works at a reported salary of $79,000. 4 road crew members were given layoff slips the week before the storm. The police department had 1 chief, 1 detective, and 3 patrolmen that morning. The questions is, if we have 3 schools, what were the 11 locations listed as problems, and how were they prioritized? What time did the police see the problem and dispatch public works? If the police department is now scheduling and dispatching public works rather than hire someone, why wasn't Chief Daly given the $79,000 to hire another officer, or rather than hiring a manager? Wait, it's a wrong sentence, hold on. Or rather than hiring a manager, since the police handle this, why didn't we keep the 4 crew members who do? And then it says, our mayor, I did not suspend Mrs. Pham, the police department did. We are civil service and have to follow the guidelines. The fact is, the crossing guards are not civil service, and we have no classification under civil service. And then it said, the mayor never mentioned Mrs. Pham calling anyone else. She did in fact call public works and the superintendent and said a number, which I think that was the question. And that's it. Just because no one else, and just because I'm still. Does anyone else want me to ask anything else before I sit down? All right. I need coffee.
Sharon Puck, 68 Johnson Avenue. I've lived in Runnemede for 45 years. Okay, I've never seen snow like I have this time. And to be honest with you, I've never been to one of these meetings. Okay.
Welcome, Coach Sharon.
No, that's not true. I was here a couple years ago because my granddaughter served on the youth council. And I just was here the other night. I wanted her to see how politics works when things are running smooth and when they're not running smooth. But what I would like to say about this meeting tonight is I'm impressed, both ways. I'm impressed with the way everyone is handling themselves here.
Agreed, I
And I'm
agree.
impressed with your apology. You apologized to, or everyone who needed to apologize, it seemed like they apologized. And I think that this meeting shows that the Runnemede people do care about this community, and I think that this could be a catalyst for change going in the right direction. So.
Hi, I'm Debbie DeMarco, for Sheffield, Fort Money. My concerns was I had a couple issues. One was, we were the only court in town that had a police officer go door to door and put signs up and told us that we had to have our car off the street or we would be fined. And when we were asked where we could put them, they didn't say we had nowhere to put our cars, so we had to move them around. But we were the only street in town. And we were told, I was told personally, we would be shoveled, plowed, curb to curb. We were not. We plow ourselves out. We always do a really good job, neighbors. We take care of our neighbors. We always are clear. We were told we were a problem for it, which I really don't understand why. We take care of ourselves. We have a 4th grader, I think, and a couple of little kids that get bus at Evesham and Hartford. The plows did not clear. There's 2 lanes there, did not clear those kids and nowhere to stand. That's a serious mess that has to be taken care of. I don't know if it's the property owner that needs to do that or if it's our town. This is the first year this has happened, and I had to go up there every day and stand in my car and block traffic so that my child and another child could get the bus. And they're separate districts. One was ours, one was the private. So I'd like to know how we're going to take care of that too. And if we do need help shoveling, there's been the 8 service hours that we can open. We need more communication. We don't get communication of what's going on in town. It's very, if you're not on social media, you don't get the information. And we have to figure out how to get that out to people who don't go on social media, because we do have a lot of elders. And if they need help, that we can send people over to help them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no one else, is there?
Yeah, I'm Robert Cannon with 513 Philly Avenue. My concern is I live in between two abandoned houses that have been trashed about 6 years now. Nothing's been done. I have a little girl that's medical challenged. I have rats coming all the way through the house and everything. I called up the Board of Health. They came out, they looked around the house and they said they couldn't do nothing about it. I've never heard anything about it anymore. Then there's one house on the right side of me, they had somebody come out and clean under the deck. I looked out and here they threw everything down in the woods. So I called back up and the company that takes care of the property, they came back and cleaned up. If they cleaned up, they sucked it back into the house. So everything that was under the deck is in the house now. And it's getting ridiculous. I go out my house every day, I see plywood windows on this side, and this house over on this side starting to get plywood windows. Vines growing up the side and stuff. The cops are getting tired of coming out because people are breaking into them. And when they get there, there's nobody there. One lady went in there one night, I said, "You want me to go with you?" She said, "No, I'm fine." She came running around the front of the house, it was dark. She said she went in there with something in there scratching on the wall. And I noticed rats there, the rats are too big there. So I don't know what we can do about it or whatever, but it's like out of control now.
Robert, could you spell your last name for me?
C-A-N-N-O-N.
What's the issue?
My address, 513, yeah.
513.
Single.
And it's either side of you?
Both sides, one on this side, one on the other side.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dan Fleury, 900 East Clements Bridge Road. I've been told I shouldn't come here tonight. I should just let it go, what it is I'm about to say. But sometimes you can't. So I'd just like to start out with, can we all agree that bullying in schoolyards is a bad thing? Yes. There have been untold attempts at, to quell that, but bullying continues to go on. I think the better thing to do would be to teach kids how to stand up to bullies, because you'll meet more bullies outside the schoolyard than inside, and that's why I'm here tonight. Runnemede leadership came out with a new tax on businesses last month in the form of a mercantile license, which, if it would have been labeled a business license, would have cleared up some of the confusion about what it really was. I had a couple of other business owners call me and say that they looked up the definition of mercantile, which kind of denotes a merchant, someone who buys goods at one price and sells them at another. And they say they didn't really feel that they fit that description of a mercantile kind of business. Another said he had a contractor's license with the state, and that his lawyer told him that the state license supersedes anything on the town level. A few days before the deadline, I thought I should email the mayor and let him know that a number of businesses in town were considering ignoring this new registration. One, because they didn't feel they fit the description of a merchant or a mercantile. Two, they had a state contractor's license. I have two separate licenses from the state, which I pay a couple $100 for already. Three, there was no mention of any penalty for not complying. And four, the police already have most of our contract or contact information. That's why they were considering not complying. From that last line, the police already have most of our contact information. They were considering not complying. The mayor somehow derived that I was telling people that the police were not going to enforce the new rule. I don't know how he got that out of what I said, but then he goes and spreads to the police department that I'm some kind of troublemaker. I found out that my name is on the police crap list, and I'm some kind. So I contact the mayor to copy and paste exactly what I said, and I said, please clear this up with the chief, because I'm not a troublemaker. I care about this town. I care about those businesses that were,
considering not complying, and I helped them to comply. I didn't get any reply from them. As if that weren't enough, I hear that the town clerk, Joyce Pinto, is now trashing my name, telling the business owner, a friend of mine, to stay away from that barber friend of yours. He's bad news. Now, what did I ever do to her? I don't know. Did the mayor instruct his staff to badmouth me? I looked up the definition of slander, and it's when you say something that harms a person's reputation or their business. I would say that fits the description. As if that's not bad enough, the mayor then sends our private emails back and forth to the woman who runs the Facebook page. I grew up in good old Runnemede. He added a little more information, which would have cleared up things if he'd have put that on the original letter. But I don't know if that was an attempt to embarrass me, but almost all the posts or replies were negative against the mayor and against Runnemede. That one kind of backfired a little bit. So let's switch gears here. Does anybody know how long Gardner's Funeral Home has been in business?
You're addressing council.
I'm sorry, yeah, business. Anybody up there? 1932. Runnemede Heating started in 1946. Now, why do I know these things? Because I'm interested in the businesses of Runnemede, the ones that have helped build this town to what it is. 1955, my father, Charlie Fleury, started Charlie's Barbershop, where I am now. I've looked around. I don't think there's any other businesses older than the three of us. So I wish Runnemede would maybe treat me with a little more respect. You know, try to cut me some slack. I'm trying to help you guys do your job, getting businesses to comply, and all of a sudden, I'm getting bad now. Runnemede, I've lived most of my 56 years here, and it was a nice little town. It's been sliding down the last 6, 7, 8 years, and I wish it would get back to where it was, but we need to start encouraging each other rather than putting each other down. So I would really like an apology from the mayor and from Ms. Pinto for bad mouth.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, do you want me to ask a question?
My name's Polly Garcia. I'm at 127 North Oakland Avenue. My question is, how come there's only certain streets that have speed bumps? My street is basically like a raceway. People come racing down there. I saw a cop and another car almost collide at the corner today, at the corner of First and North Oakland. They don't stop. And I guess there's never, I always see the cops come around, but I guess at times I wish they were there when the cars are coming. They use our street to cut through when the Blackford Pike and Clemens Ridge Road is backed up. So I want to find out, what can we do? I do have kids. I had to, with the whole snowstorm, I mean, I agree with everyone. I had to walk my son to school that day, and I had to walk in the middle of the road because some of my neighbors didn't shovel, the sidewalks weren't done. And I know that's not just, you know, they're supposed to be doing it, but I want to know, what can we do to make that safer for our kids to be able to, you know, walk in the street because they're going to have to, and what we can do for, I don't even let my kids out front because of the street, the way that people come racing down there. So my question is, how would I go about getting somebody to find out about putting speed bumps? I know that they're on the next street over, but I don't understand why they're not on ours.
Mr. Garcia, what street you live on?
North Oakland?
Between First and Third.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Sorry.
it. Thank you. That's,
You're welcome.
that's my biggest concern, because they don't stop at that stop sign down there at First Ave. I mean, I think not too long ago there was a pretty bad accident right there. And today I was like, saw the cop, and I think the other car didn't see him, and they just started to go, and then luckily the cop slowed down and saw that he was coming, so.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Terry McMichael from 648 Glover Drive. I'm actually going to piggyback on Holly's. When Sis Calvadas was in office, I actually went up and down my street. I live on the corner of 3rd and Glover, which is one block at the stop sign as you go past Old School. As soon as you hit the stop sign, my house is right there on the left. And I actually went all to my neighbors, and within a 6-house radius, we had 14 children under the age of 12. And I asked for speed bumps as well, and it was when Ed White was here. And I had a lot of people sign a petition and everything like that. Next thing you know, they went up on Singley Avenue, they went up on Reed, they went up all over the place, and I understood they were $3,000 a piece. Okay, I think kids are worth it. Also on, West 3rd, where I'm at, there's a curve there right after Volts, and there's 2 big trucks. They both own their trucks because they work for a company that have big pickup trucks. And the kids at that age, my child was probably about 6 or 7, the kids that actually lived on the curve would be running out from behind those trucks. So I thought it was really imperative that I took my butt up and down that street to go ahead and get all those petitions. It went nowhere. Patty, I don't really know her. However, I encountered her at church one day, and she said, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. I voted for her. About a year later, at one of the school events, when they had one of those introductory things at the beginning of the school year, I approached her and I said, hey, what about my speed bumps? And she gave me every excuse in the book not to have them. I can remember a couple of them, I'm not going to say them, but regardless, it got nowhere, and I was disappointed as well. Speed bumps can save lives. I've seen some of the police officers run through the corner of 3rd and Glover, and they're not even in their cop cars. Okay, so, my parents used to babysit my son, and they would say, oh my gosh, I could give out tickets all day. And they're absolutely right. But at least if we had the speed bumps, it could slow down some of the cars before they hit one of the children and somebody ends up hurt and or killed.
Or a dog.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no one else, is there a motion to close the public portion?
I make a motion to close.
Motion by Ms. Passios, Mr. Lobenstein, all in favor? All right, the public portion is closed. I think we can respond to some of them. I'll allow the solicitor and...
I'm going to try to take it in order to the extent that I can. So the first one was...
Can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
I apologize. Can you hear me now? Yes? Okay. I think, Mr. Basher, maybe you're the best to answer that question about what were the change orders about on South Oakland Avenue.
The South Oakland change order was for work that was already done. It's not to extend the limits. That we had some pipes installed because of failure of the existing drainage system during construction. I worked with Councilman Farrell and Rich Wright, and we just had to make decisions on the fly. And this is a change order just to document all the changes that happened during construction. We are not extending the project limits any further at this time. There is a state aid application put in, but we won't hear about funding possibly until July.
Thank you.
The next one, really, I think the question was, quote, where was the failure? So that's a conclusion. But the council and the school district and emergency management are all very diligently working together to put plans in place to try to assure that the situations that happened, should we have another blizzard, not happen again, or certainly be less difficult for everyone. Ms. Bound's questions were all personnel related, and we cannot address those at public portion. This NAFIS, is it? I'm sorry if I didn't say that correctly.
NAFIS?
NAFIS, thank you, I'm sorry. I think that I would ask the Public Works Director to respond to you in writing. I think it would be easier. Her questions were, how much salt do we have or is available to us? How do we determine where we salt? And why wasn't 3rd Avenue salted? So if you could, in the next few days, reach out to her in writing and let her know those answers, I would appreciate that. There was a question about public work staffing. Once again, we again do not discuss those types of issues at public sessions. There's a question about the stop sign not being observed at 3rd and Center. So our chief of police is here, and he's heard that, so I'm sure he will look into that and see what, if anything, that we can do there. So, Ms. DeMarco, who talked about, was concerned, I guess, that her particular, was it a cul-de-sac?
Yes.
Thank you. So if, I don't know who knocked on the door, and I don't want you to tell me, but if it was Public Works, then you should reach out to Public Works. If it was the police department, then you should reach out to the police department. And since they're both here, if they know the answer, then hopefully they'll get back to you and try to explain the process that's involved. I'm there. The whole area, an issue somebody raised, and it might have been Mr. Marco again, about communication in the community, especially communication for people who are not necessarily social media savvy and perhaps aren't even computer savvy, is something that the council's been working on for a considerable period of time, and it's kind of a difficult question of how we can communicate to people in a short period of time. Obviously, social media and email and things like that are the real efficient ways. So it's something that the council's aware of and continues to work on trying to come up with solutions. Issue about building in school is not us. Licensing is licensing. We have an ordinance that talks about that. If there's concerns about the provisions in an ordinance, then certainly in writing you should communicate with the administrator and outline what you think the difficulties are, and then the council or the council subcommittee can look at possibly amending an ordinance if they believe it's appropriate. Once you said the word slander, you're talking about litigation, so that kind of stops us from responding. Speed bumps, I'm going to ask Mr. Bayshore to explain how that, if it's explainable, because I don't understand it, how speed bumps get determined where they can go.
Well, it's a policy issue with council as far as being able to spend the money, and then we rely on the police chief to help us out with where some trouble areas are. And before Councilman White, when he was here, he was trying to come up with some critical areas, and we worked with the police chief, and that's how the ones got installed that were installed. But moving forward, we work with Councilman Farrell and the police chief to identify trouble areas.
So between Councilman Farrell and the police, could we look at first and third in that area that a couple of people talked about to see whether or not it might be appropriate at this time to consider a speed bump there? And then we can get back to them and let them know what our conclusions were. It'll take a bit of time. They have to do some evaluation.
Okay, at this moment, we're ready for a motion to adjourn. Is there
Wait a
someone
minute,
who wants to give a motion to adjourn?
You didn't address the abandoned houses, the rats, and the dogs.
I apologize.
We
You're
apologize.
So we will, and for some reason I think I might know about this already, but that will be referred to our code enforcement officer to investigate, and we do have provisions in ordinances to address those issues about maintaining abandoned houses, and the code officer will deal with that, and we'll make sure he's aware of that circumstance. That's why Mr. Root asked for the specific information so we could give that to Keith.
What about the rats?
Board of Health.
What about the dogs?
Just to let everyone know, I did write down everything that everyone said. I heard what everyone said. Even though they might not have been addressed in this forum, this might not be the right forum to address all these different issues. So we will do our best to communicate to every single person who came up. I am available. I am available. Everyone up here is available. Chief of Police is available. Everyone here you see, our new superintendent, our administrator, the clerk, everyone's here for you guys. No one's not here. Police department, fire, anybody you need, we are here to answer your questions and help you guys out. So we will do our best to answer some of these questions. I'll reach out to many of you individually if you'd like. Feel free to contact me. I will talk to anyone who wants to talk. So, but at this point, yes.
And I should say, there was also a question of communication, or how do we contact Public Works? So the number, just so everybody knows, but it's on the website as well, 939-5161. That's our main line, extension 1004. It's generally staffed. Some human being actually answers it, but there are occasions when that person's away from their desk, and there's an answering machine so you can leave a message. And in any circumstance, under whatever it might be,
Everybody but Gina.
if there's an emergency, then I think that your first move is to dial 911. That's an emergency line. And 911 This is not a dialogue, ma'am, and you're interrupting me, and I'd appreciate it if you didn't. So if you're really in a dire emergency, you can always dial 911, and 911 can direct appropriate people. In a dire emergency, it's an option.
Okay, since we've done all our business, there's a motion to adjourn. Second by Mr. Lomenstein, all in favor?